Have you ever felt that something's off when you're around someone? The person smiles, greets you, says kind words, but something deep in your chest tightens. A discomfort you can't name, but it's there, pulsing quietly, as if your body knew something your mind hasn't caught on to yet, as if a part of you older, more instinctive is warning you, be careful. Carl Jung, one of the greatest scholars of the human mind, spent decades investigating this phenomenon, and what he discovered will completely change how you see certain people around you. Jung called this the shadow. The shadow is that part of us we deny, that we hide even from ourselves, that we reject because we don't want to believe we're capable of feeling or thinking certain things. And when someone feels hatred, envy, or deep resentment toward you, that person's shadow can never completely hide itself, no matter how hard they try. The signs are there, subtle as whispers, but unmistakable for those who know how to read them. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 8 invisible signs that the shadow uses to manifest when someone close to you carries hostile feelings toward you, even though the person does everything to hide it. And listen carefully. Don't subscribe now. Don't hit like yet. Don't let your attention wander, even for a second. What I'm about to share with you requires your total presence, your complete attention, because every word here might make you remember someone very specific in your life, someone who's perhaps been by your side for years. You can decide about subscribing later, and I'll tell you something right now. The 8th sign is the most disturbing of all, because it doesn't manifest in words. It hides in silence, in almost imperceptible gestures, in details that the conscious mind completely ignores, but that the unconscious always perceives. And when you recognize this 8th sign, a lot of things will make sense in an almost frightening way. Before we begin, I want you to do something with me. Think right now of someone who's around in your life. Could be a co-worker, a family member, even a close friend. Someone who smiles at you, who asks how you're doing, who seems genuine in their words. But deep down, you feel something's wrong, something you can't explain, but you feel it. Keep that person in your mind, because over the next few minutes, you're going to understand exactly what's happening, and more importantly, you're going to know what to do with this information. And in the next 3 minutes, you'll discover why Jung considered the projection of the shadow as one of the most destructive psychological forces in human relationships, because it operates in the field of the invisible, and the invisible is always the most dangerous, because you don't know how to defend yourself against what you can't see clearly. Let's get to the first sign. The first sign is sarcasm disguised as intimacy. Jung taught us something fundamental about human nature. Repressed aggression always finds a way out. It never stays contained forever. And one of the most common, most socially accepted doors is sarcasm. That person who makes jokes about things that they know deep down they know hurt you, that make you uncomfortable. But when you try to point it out, when you say, "Hey, that bothered me," they respond, "Relax, it's just a joke. Can't you take a joke? Why are you so sensitive?" And then you're left with that strange feeling. Am I too sensitive? Am I overreacting? No, you're not, because it's not a joke. It's their shadow speaking through humor. Repeated, constant sarcasm about the same topics, about the same sensitive points, isn't humor. It's hostility dressed in the clothes of intimacy. It's aggression wearing a mask of joking around. If this person's jokes always leave you with a feeling of humiliation, of smallness, of inadequacy, and if they repeat over time, always coming back to the same topics, it's not your sensitivity. It's their shadow attacking exactly what they can't accept in themselves. And here's Jung's profound insight. Our personal shadow is projected onto others in a subtle, almost involuntary, often unconscious way. When someone repeatedly uses irony to attack specific aspects of your personality, your choices, your dreams, that person is revealing a part of themselves they don't have the courage to face. What they criticize in you, what they ridicule, is exactly what they reject, what they fear, what they hate in themselves. Each joke is a disguised confession. The second sign is invisible sabotage, and this one's particularly insidious because it happens behind the scenes of your life. There are people who don't attack you head-on. They don't confront, they don't fight, they sabotage in the shadows. Jung called this the projection of inferiority. When someone doesn't have the courage or emotional capacity to face their own failures, to look at their own inadequacy, they unconsciously project that frustration onto you and sabotage you. But the sabotage isn't always obvious. It's not always direct. Sometimes it's wrong advice given at exactly the right time, at the moment when you most need guidance. Or it's important, crucial information that they forgot to pass along to you. Oops, sorry, I didn't know it was important. Small mistakes, small omissions, small misunderstandings that, when you add it all up, prevent you from reaching your goal, make you stumble, make you doubt yourself. If this repeats consistently, if it always happens at the most crucial moments of your journey, it's not distraction, it's not forgetfulness, it's this person's shadow acting through their unconscious. Jung explains something that's hard to accept, but true. When a person can't deal with their own sense of inadequacy, when they feel inferior but don't want to admit it even to themselves, they try to balance that internal pain by hindering you. Because seeing you fail, seeing you not succeed, temporarily eases the pain of them not succeeding themselves. It's brutal, it's dark, but it's deeply human, and it happens much more than you imagine in families, in work environments, even in old friendships. The third sign is silent competition. Pay attention to this. Every time you share a victory, an achievement, something that made you happy, this person immediately shifts focus to themselves. If you got a promotion, they quickly say they also achieved something similar, or even better, or better yet, that the promotion you received isn't really that important, because Sector X is what really matters. This isn't casual conversation. This isn't genuine interest. It's undeclared competition. It's a silent war where each of your victories is felt as their defeat. Jung would say this happens because the projection of the shadow makes people see in others exactly the qualities they haven't been able to develop in themselves, or that they've developed but don't recognize. When you shine, when you succeed, when you grow, the light emanating from you exposes their darkness, and this is absolutely unbearable for someone who hasn't yet integrated their own shadow, for someone who hasn't made peace with their own failures, with their own limitations. If every conversation with this person turns into a veiled dispute, if they always need to be one step ahead, if they can never simply be happy about your victory without immediately talking about themselves, there's a deep, unexpressed resentment hidden there. And that resentment has much more to do with them, with their internal battle, than with you. Now I ask you, did that make sense? Do these first three signs connect with someone specific in your life? If so, if something clicked inside you, if an image, a name, a situation came to your mind, pause now for 5 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, but come right back, because what's coming next will connect everything in a way you've never seen before. I'll wait here, you're back. Then let's go even deeper. The fourth sign is superficial support. And this one's cruel because it seems like the opposite. There are people who say they support you, who say they're there for you, who use all the right words. But when you really need them, when the situation gets tough, when you're vulnerable, they disappear, they vanish, or they completely minimize your problem. Oh, it's not that serious. Everyone goes through this. You'll get over it. And when you achieve something really important, something that costs you sweat, tears, sleepless nights, their enthusiasm is forced, mechanical, or simply not existent. A cold congratulations, without energy, without life. Jung spoke about something he called dissociation of the ego. It's when a person is emotionally disconnected from others, not by conscious choice, but by an unconscious defense mechanism. They can't feel genuine joy for your success because, for them, unconsciously, your success hurts them. Each of your victories is felt as their defeat, as if there were a limited amount of success in the world, and if you're winning, they're losing. Observe this pattern carefully. This person is available in mundane, superficial moments when it costs nothing to be present, but they completely disappear in the key moments of your life. When you most need emotional support, they have an excuse ready. When you shine brightest, when you achieve something significant, they go silent or quickly change the subject. This pattern isn't accidental. It's not coincidence. It's this person's shadow consciously choosing where to appear and where to hide. Because being present in your moments of glory would require something from them they can't give, the ability to celebrate someone besides themselves. The fifth sign is control disguised as care, and this one's particularly hard to identify because it comes wrapped in words of concern, of love, of protection. There are people who try to dominate every aspect of your life, saying it's for your own good, that it's because they care, that it's because they want to protect you from making mistakes. They criticize your every choice, question every decision, constantly doubt your ability to know what's best for you. And they do this always with that worried tone of voice, as if they were the only people in the world who really see the truth about you. Jung said something profound about this. The need to control others is always born from fear of internal chaos. People who can't manage their own uncertainty, their own anxiety, their own feeling of being out of control, desperately try to govern others' lives. Because if they can control you, if they can dictate how you should live, what you should think, what you should feel, they don't have to deal with their own emotional instability. The key indicator here, the red alert signal, is how you feel after interacting with this person. If after each piece of advice you feel more insecure than before, more dependent, more incapable, smaller, it's not love, it's not care, it's emotional manipulation. Their shadow is trying to keep you trapped, keep you small, because they really can't deal with the idea of you being free, of you being autonomous, of you not needing them anymore. The sixth sign is gossip and systematic distortion of your image, and this one's particularly painful when you discover it. People who carry hidden hostility, who harbor deep resentment, rarely attack you directly, face to face. They prefer the more cowardly method, talking bad about you behind your back, spreading distorted, exaggerated information, sometimes completely invented, planting seeds of doubt about you in other people's minds. Jung explained this brilliantly. The need to discredit others is always an unconscious attempt to project one's own insecurities, one's own weaknesses, one's own flaws. When someone feels deeply inferior but can't admit it, they try to balance that internal pain by casting negative light on you. It's a desperate, even pathetic way to temporarily relieve the pain of their own inadequacy. If you notice people around you starting to treat you differently without any clear explanation, if colleagues who are neutral suddenly become cold, if friends start avoiding you, it's very possible that someone is spreading stories about you. And here's something Jung taught us that's liberating when you understand it. These stories, these distortions, say much more about who's telling them than about you. Every lie someone invents about you is actually a veiled confession about themselves. Wait, stop everything now for a second. Think, how many times have you been judged for something someone said about you, and not for what you actually did or said? How many times has your reputation been tarnished by a distorted version of who you are? Feel that now in your body. Where does that pain live? In your chest? In your throat? In your stomach? Because this is one of the cruelest, most cowardly ways the shadow acts. It destroys reputations silently, slowly, without you even knowing it's happening, until the effects are already consolidated. The seventh sign is the absolute inability to celebrate your achievements. When you reach something really important, something that meant struggle, dedication, persistence, and the person reacts with total coldness, immediately changes the subject, or, worse yet, actively tries to diminish, minimize, devalue your achievement, pay very close attention. Jung explained that the inability to genuinely rejoice for others always reveals a deep, unresolved internal conflict, still bleeding. People like this see your success as a painful mirror that reflects their own failure. Each of your victories is a brutal, unbearable reminder of what they haven't been able to achieve, of what they tried and failed, or worse, of what they didn't even have the courage to try. That's why they desperately try to minimize what you've achieved, with seemingly innocent phrases like, "Oh, it's not that important, anyone can do that," or "I also did something similar a while ago, it's no big deal," or even, "You could have done better. If you'd tried harder, you would have gotten further." These words aren't honest opinions. They're not constructive criticism. They're very clear signs of latent impatience, of resentment boiling beneath the surface. If someone around you has a consistent, repeated difficulty celebrating your victories, shows more irritation than joy, more indifference than enthusiasm, there's something very deep happening there, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with the battle this person is fighting with themselves, a battle they're losing. And now we come to the eighth and final sign, the most subtle of all, the most revealing, and what Jung considered the hardest to fake, because this sign isn't in the words that are spoken, it's in the body. In the language the body speaks without permission from the conscious mind. The eighth sign is non-verbal language and the invisible details that betray the truth. hidden hatred, camouflaged resentment, disguised envy. All of this inevitably manifests in the smallest gestures, in the micro-signals that the body can't control. A look that escapes at the wrong moment and reveals something. A smile that seems painted on the face, forced, lifeless in the eyes. A sudden change of expression when you mention something positive. A tense, heavy, loaded silence that says much more than 1,000 words could say. Many people actually try to consciously mask their real feelings. They put on a social mask, say the right words. But Jung said something I need you to remember right now, that you let sink in deeply. The body always, always, always betrays the deepest emotions. The conscious mind can construct an elaborate, perfect, convincing facade, but the body responds only to real emotions. Always. If someone pretends to value you, pretends to respect you, but feels true hostility underneath all that, you'll notice it in the subtlest gestures if you pay attention. This person's hands become tense, rigid when you talk about a recent success. The tone of voice changes imperceptibly, becomes colder, more mechanical when they give you a compliment. They avoid direct eye contact at certain specific moments, quickly look away. Or the hug, when it happens, is too quick, too superficial, too stiff, completely empty of human warmth. Jung argued, and all modern neuroscience confirms this, that the body and unconscious never lie, never. Even when someone desperately tries to hide their true feelings, even when they believe they're convincing everyone, non-verbal language always reveals the truth. Because the conscious mind can create a convincing facade, can rehearse the right words, can control what comes out of the mouth. But the body responds automatically, involuntarily, to what is genuinely felt. And here's what I most need you to understand deeply, to let penetrate all layers of your being. If you feel inexplicable tension, discomfort without apparent reason, coldness that isn't justified by the words spoken, trust your instincts. Trust that feeling in your stomach, that tightness in your chest, that silent alert your body gives you. You may have picked up a signal that your conscious mind still has enormous difficulty rationalizing, putting into words, accepting as real. But the body already knows. The body always knows first, and the body never gets it wrong. Now close your eyes for 3 seconds. Go ahead, really close them. Take a deep breath, a really deep one, and feel this in your body now. Think of that person who came to your mind at the beginning of this video. The person I asked you to keep in your memory. Where do you feel the truth about this person? Is it in your chest, oppressing, in your throat, choking, in your stomach, churning? Just observe now. Don't try to change it. Don't judge. Just feel. Just recognize. Because the mind isn't just abstract thought floating in the air. It lives in the body too. It manifests in the body, and the body has already given you the answer. You just need to listen. Write this down now, or pause the video if you need to. The shadow always reveals itself. Always, without exception. Let this phrase penetrate completely into your consciousness. Let it reverberate. Because this phrase alone, if you really allow it to enter, to settle into your system, can radically transform the way you see absolutely all your relationships. And here's something Jung discovered after decades studying the human psyche. Something that changes everything when you really understand it. When you recognize the shadow in another. When you identify these 8 signs in someone, you're actually getting closer to recognizing your own shadow. Because no one can identify in another what doesn't exist, in some mysterious way, inside themselves as well. This is the mirror Jung offers us. It's disturbing, yes. It's uncomfortable, yes. But it's deeply liberating when you have the courage to really look. Because all external recognition is an invitation for internal recognition. If you're feeling this now, if this message is resonating deeply somewhere inside you, if something is moving, rearranging itself, write in the comments the word projection. And when you write that word, don't write it on autopilot. Pay attention. Observe what happens in your body at that exact moment. Feel the energy moving, changing, reorganizing. Because when you consciously name the projection, when you bring light to it, you begin to deactivate the power it had over you. You're not just leaving a casual comment. You're actively initiating the process Jung called shadow integration. The long, difficult, but inevitable path back to the authentic self, to who you really are underneath all the masks. You're not someone who just passively observes others' shadows. You're not a victim of others' projections. You're someone who consciously integrates their own shadow. And when you truly do this, when you look at your own darkness and accept it as part of who you are, you become completely immune to others' projections, because you've already recognized the darkness within you, and you've made peace with it. Now comes perhaps the most important part of everything I've said so far. Jung taught us, implored us to understand that recognizing these 8 signs in people around you is only the first step. The second step, the harder step, is understanding deeply that these people aren't movie villains. They're not monsters. They're not your natural enemies. They're non-integrated human beings, fragmented, wounded. Their shadow is acting, is attacking, is projecting, because they haven't yet had the courage or the opportunity or the necessary support to look inside, to face their own darkness, to accept their own flaws, their own fears, their own inadequacies. And here's the choice you have now, at this exact moment. You can completely distance yourself from these people. And often, especially when the toxicity is very intense, when the damage is very deep, this isn't just advisable, it's absolutely necessary for your mental, emotional, spiritual health. Or you can do something different. You can maintain a healthy, conscious distance, knowing exactly what's happening in the psychological backstage, without letting yourself be contaminated, without absorbing the poison, without internalizing the projections. Because when you truly understand the dynamics of the shadow, when you clearly see the game being played, it completely, totally loses the power to hurt you. You see the board, you see the pieces, you see the moves before they happen. And when you see the game with such clarity, you simply stop playing, you step off the board, you observe from outside, even with compassion, but without getting emotionally involved. Remember now what I said at the very beginning, when we were starting this journey together, about the shadow never being able to completely hide itself, never being able to disguise all the signs. Now you understand exactly why, don't you? Because the 8 signs I revealed here aren't psychological tricks. They're not manipulation techniques that someone consciously learns. They're inevitable, automatic manifestations of something that hasn't been integrated, of a part of the psyche that's desperately fighting to be seen, to be recognized, to be accepted. And Jung spent literally his entire life showing us, through thousands of pages, dozens of books, that the only way, the only real way to stop projecting the shadow onto others, is to have the brutal courage to look inside, to face your own darkness, to sit with your own demons, and to recognize, accept, integrate that this darkness is part of who you are. It's not something separate. It's not something you can cut out. It's an integral part of the totality of your being. If you've made it this far, if you've watched up to this moment, you're part of a very rare group. You're part of the 3% of people who actually watch entire content pieces to the end, who have the capacity for deep attention, who are genuinely committed to real transformation of consciousness, and not just seeking superficial entertainment or quick distraction. Subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications to receive the next content pieces. And here's something absolutely crucial that can exponentially multiply, in an almost frightening way, the impact this message will have on your life. Save this video right now. Click save and mark on your calendar, on your phone, wherever, to come back here in exactly 7 days, 1 week, because I guarantee you something. You'll perceive entire layers of meaning, insights that completely went unnoticed now, connections your conscious mind couldn't make the first time. That's how it works, with deep truths about the shadow, about the unconscious. They unfold in successive layers. Each time you revisit, a new layer reveals itself. It's like peeling an infinite onion of meaning. Remember now what I said about the body always betraying the deepest emotions, about non-verbal language revealing the truth that words try to hide. This will echo in a completely different way, almost disturbingly crystal clear, when you revisit this content in a week. That's the incredible power of shadow integration. It continues revealing itself, unfolding, deepening over time. And if you know someone who's going through exactly this right now, someone close who you know is feeling that there are people around them with hidden hostility, but can't clearly identify it, can't put their finger on it and say, this is it, share this video with that person now, immediately. You might literally be the instrument, the channel, to deliver the right message at the absolutely perfect moment to someone who really, desperately needs to hear this. And if you want to continue deepening this understanding about the shadow, about how it operates not only in others but mainly in you, about how to do the real integration work that Jung taught us. Click on the next video that will appear on the screen now, where I reveal how to integrate your own shadow in a practical way and stop attracting toxic people into your life. Because when you integrate your shadow, the world around you changes in an almost magical way. The time to start this work isn't tomorrow. It's not on Monday. It's not when you feel ready. It's now, because each day that passes reinforces the old pattern, solidifies the defenses, hardens the resistance. Thank you for making it this far, for having the courage to look at these uncomfortable truths. Until the next video.